So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Daren Jaime. Today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up, we'll update you on the latest in the world of politics. After that, the holiday season for most people is a fun time, but for some, it's a time filled with sadness, loneliness, and anxiety. How can you help those in need? We'll talk to an expert a little bit later on in the show. Then we'll meet a first-time author who pens a memoir dedicated to caregivers all around the world in her new book, View for Death. And afterwards, Christmas is right around the corner, and it's time for some traditional Puerto Rican Coquito. So we'll give you a little bit more and a special performance that's just for you. All this and much more is heading your way, so stay with us, because right now, we're officially hello everyone, I'm Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, December 12th, and you're watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is now being broadcast live simultaneously on MNN's channel. Now, you can stay connected to us by watching us on Twitter, BronxNet TV, Facebook at Open, BronxNet Television. And when I said watch us, I mean you can tweet us. That's what I meant to say. Well, I want to let you know the holiday season is upon us. We're going to tell you about some very special events in our area with you to enjoy with your family with now our Bronx updates. I'm pretty excited about the very first one. Enjoy the New York Botanical Garden Holiday Train Show with an enchanting model train display of 150 landmarks, each recreated with bark, leaves, and other natural materials. Among the familiar sights are landmarks such as the Brooklyn Bridge, Statue of Liberty, Rockefeller Center, and much more. The event starts at 10 a.m. every day until January. Now, if you want to go to the New York Botanical Garden, that's located at 2900 Southern Boulevard. For more information, we encourage you to call 718-817-8700 or visit their web at nybg.org. Well, tomorrow, December 13th, join Casita Maria for a celebration of Artist Talk of We Have E-Ray, Afro-Cuban in the United States. It's going to feature DJ ladies, and the exhibition documents the stories of 4 principal participating Cuban artists. The event starts at 5 p.m. Casita Maria is located at 928 Simpson Street. For more information, you're encouraged to call 718-589-2230. Once again, that number is 718-589-2230. And if you're a person that likes to write and meet people who enjoy writing, well, we bring your creativity and personality to Sedgwick's Library's Arts Creative Workshop. Now, all writers of all styles are welcome to participate and brush up on their writing skills with editing exercises. The event starts at 2 p.m. on Friday, December 14th. Sedgwick Library is located at 1701 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. For more information, we encourage you to call 718-731-2074. Once again, that number is 718-731-2074. And that's all the time we have for some of the events and updates. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
I guess sometimes things just happen. Devastating things. Your whole world changes in an instant. That's what happened to me the day my mother had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
For all the papas out there, let's stop what we're doing and take a moment. A moment to be with our kids. They can be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments, kooky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count because every time dads take a moment to be with their kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's all take a moment to make a moment today.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
And welcome back. The holiday season for most people is a fun time filled with parties, celebrations, and social gatherings. But for some, it's a time filled with sadness and anxiety. What actually causes holiday depression? Well, we want to talk about this, and we brought our therapist, Luis Lopez, here with us, and good to have you back again.
Daren, good to be here as well. It's always a pleasure to be on a program that keeps the organization and community informed with latest things and helping out as much as possible.
We try. So, I'd say the holiday season is upon us, and I can say happy holidays to you, right?
Likewise, happy holidays.
Happy holidays, right? But for everybody, it's not a happy holiday, which is really the theme of this segment.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about this, because we've got some people who really, when this season comes, this time of year comes, it's really not all the best.
That's true. That's very true. So, a lot of things that a lot of individuals may be facing or dealing with in this time of the season is, depression can be increased related to family issues, like if there's a loss or, family members are dealing with drugs or other things like that. Mm-hmm. Being that the holiday season is supposed to be a family situation, and if that person is missing someone or something has happened, that can increase the depression. A lot of people can feel lonely, can withdraw, and can go through certain things that really affect them. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask, what are some of those real causes? I mean, we talk about death can be one, and then you got issues of, hey, I can't really provide for my kids during a time when everybody's buying gifts. I can't buy those gifts.
Absolutely. That was going to be my second point. This time of the season can be very stressful, right? There could be a lot of financial limitations, a lot of expectations, a lot of demand on an individual may not be able to keep up with that, and that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. So folks can also go down that route as well, and that could be an issue in this time of the season.
So when you have this stress and when you have this anxiety, what's the best thing to do? Because a lot of people tend to keep it in. And you're the guy that, we talk to, right? But the reality is that a lot of people don't talk. And what can I do?
if an individual doesn't want to take an opportunity to explore those emotions or that situation, that can lead to a negative impact, right? And we definitely don't want to go that route. So one of the recommendations would be to try to speak to someone, try to engage in activities that can help them feel better, like start new traditions, spend time with other family members, maybe take care of themselves, like exercise, get enough rest, adjust their schedule, set limits on what they can do financially and things like that, so it wouldn't be overwhelming or overburdened for them in this type of season.
Walk me through this. If I'm a family member or a friend, right, and I've got a loved one that I'm particularly concerned about, how do I discern what are these real symptoms and signs when somebody's going through this holiday stress?
One of the signs that can come up when a person is dealing with holiday stress or depression is isolation. They seem to tend to isolate. They're not really involved. They're not engaged. Easily getting irritable, getting angry, sadness, crying, things like that. Those are typically indicators that something's wrong with the individual. And a family member, it would be highly recommended for them to try to reach out to them, try to provide that help and that support that they can desperately need in this type of season.
Take me to your office for a minute. A person walks through the door. They say, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm dealing with. What's the conversation that you have?
All right, so a person comes in, I have, introduced myself, we sit down, let's talk about that a little bit. Tell me what happened. Has there been anything specifically that happened recently, or what are some things that come to your mind around this season? And then we talk about it, we try to explore it. Then, all right, so what are some things that probably have helped you in the past? How can we bring that to the present? These are some things that I suggested, and these are some things that may help. Let's talk about it. Which one you feel that is the best one that can apply to you? And then we take it from there. Some of the suggestions, as I mentioned before, is try to get involved, try to volunteer if it's possible at a local soup kitchen or in a church activity. These are things that sometimes help the individual feel like, oh, I'm part of something. This is helping me. I feel good when I do these things, and it's highly recommended to try some of those.
So during the holidays, of course, we know that this depression, this anxiety, these things creep up. Is there an expiration date to this? I mean, is it like the day after? Is it a week after? What do we normally find with people?
Well, that's a good question. In the holiday season, the peak is typically in those areas. Shortly after, I wouldn't say immediately like the day after. It could subside maybe up to 90 days or maybe 6 months later. It all depends on what's going on with the individual. Obviously, the financial piece is a stressor that can be a little bit longer than that. But typically, shortly after the season, individuals that are just dealing with this type of stressor, it tends to go away.
Yeah, we talked about a few of the things. I want to go back a couple of them. Unrealistic expectations. Talk about the unrealistic expectations that people have.
One of the great unrealistic expectation is the gift giving.
Right.
We tend to go over and beyond what we actually can afford to provide for other people. Maybe going to different places that possibly we not physically or able to be at. Engaging in a lot of activities, trying to keep up with a lot of things. An individual can really extend themselves beyond what they're able to do when it comes to the holiday season. That could be an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, and the inability to be with one's family and friends for people who, maybe, I should say, stationed somewhere, located somewhere, or maybe even incarcerated, right? We know that those persons have, within the prison walls, a lot of people have suffered from depression simply because I'm not able to be with my family and friends.
Absolutely.
Are there things that we can do in terms of, if I'm a friend, talking, saying, speaking, to be of assistance to that person that might be just going through it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that if there's family members or friends that have an individual that's incarcerated, being their friend, connecting with them will be a great thing. There is this program called Angel Tree that it's a wonderful program. What it is there's local communities, local church that get a gift for a child, for a person that's incarcerated, and then it's delivered to the family member as though it came from the person that's incarcerated. So that's a way of helping that individual sort of feel like good in this type of season. So it's an excellent thing to do.
Yeah, a lot of things to tap into. Thank you for coming with us and sharing
problem.
with us. And it's a rough time for some people, but it's also a happy time. It's the best of times, it's the worst of times, but that's why we bring you here, to help guide people through the worst of times.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Good to have you. All
Good to
right.
have me.
Take a quick break. Listen, once you stay with us, we've got more open. Don't go anywhere. Come right back right after this.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
And we are back here on Open with what's exactly happening in the world of politics. We are joined now by our political expert, Michael Benjamin, who's the associate editorial page editor of the New York Post. He joins us here to talk about what's happening in both the local and the national headlines. And Mike, good to have you.
It's a pleasure. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. Let's go front and center right now. A lot of controversy here in New York City over a young lady who actually was trying to get some benefits for her child and ends up subsequently being arrested and separated from her child. We understand now that the NYPD, or I should say the District Attorney's Office, has decided not to press charges, but the NYPD says that they are vigorously investigating this. Let's bring people up to speed to where we are today.
What happened was last Friday, a young woman was at a Brooklyn HRA officer services office trying to get benefits for herself and her child. The place was overcrowded, and she had no choice but to sit on the floor. An HRA security guard apparently approached her and asked her to get up. But she said, well, imagine why get up when you have no place to sit. Things probably got heated, and the HRA security guard wanted to call NYPD. And people have seen this viral video of police and HRA guards struggling with this woman to get her off the floor and trying to snatch her baby away from her as they try to get her to her feet. And it became a viral sensation, an outrage for many New Yorkers. The young woman wound up being arrested, her child separated from her, and a nightmare for the mayor, NYPD, and Human Resources Administration for what many believe was a major overreaction to something that could have been moderated. In our editorial today in the Post, we didn't understand why the guard did not call a social worker to come over and try to negotiate and settle it peacefully without there having to be a reason to call the police and this awful incident to occur.
Yeah, and the other thing that you have to think about is let's talk about why she's sitting there. I mean, there is a glaring problem when it comes to, social services and help like that. The numbers of people who need help, and then you're in an overcrowded space.
Yes, and yes, the young woman, Jasmine Headley, maybe she should not have been blocking in an area. The security guard should have found additional chairs for her and others who were forced to stand and wait for a long time, rather than getting into a heated argument, which then had the police show up, and then it turned into something. Of course, it wasn't tragic, but what young woman wound up 4 days on Rikers Island over nonsense.
Yeah, and we know the charges are dropped and the babies and mother are set to be reunited. But talk to me about the public relations nightmare this does for New York City, particularly the mayor and the New York City Police Department. I was reading in one particular article that said that this is the time, the NYPD turned their backs on Bill de Blasio early on when he was elected mayor with all the shootings with the police officers in Brooklyn. The response now is the police officers should turn their backs on themselves, or the NYPD should turn their backs on themselves, given the fact that they were engaged in such
No, there's no doubt that what occurred was shameful, but also shameful was the mayor's lack of a response. I mean, he didn't necessarily have to condemn, everybody involved. At least he should have pointed out that something awful went on. He should have addressed it in the media. But fortunately, a number of other public elected officials addressed it, and even the police commissioner addressed it and said something went wrong, it's going to be investigated, and those who are responsible should be held accountable. I admire HRA's response. Security officers were, in a sense, suspended or reassigned until an investigation is completed. So they're taken off the line until something can be determined as to what went wrong and coming up with new procedures. But for the NYPD, they're supposed to be doing finding ways of resolving conflict short of physical confrontation.
Right.
And apparently, not enough of their officers have been trained in that kind of effort when it comes to how do you calm persons down when things get heated, rather than having to get into a physical confrontation. And most troubling for everybody is the fact that they wrestled a woman's child away from her, a 1-year-old. I mean, I have a 5-month-old and a 3-year-old. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody wrestling my children out of my arms. That's awful.
Right. And we know this is the conversation that the President of the United States is going through in terms of, parents being separated from their children. But when you look at something so graphic is that, the NYPD's mantra is courtesy, professionalism, and respect. And when you look at a video that goes as viral as this, it could easily be said that courtesy, professionalism, and respect did not play out in the order of the day. I want to go to more of other news on the national front, talk about the president. Of course, we're talking about him now, and the word is that he needs to cool it on Twitter. And I know that this is something that's been said for a long period of time, that the president and his Twitter account is actually better than Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I mean, you really can get the word out faster through Twitter, and the president utilizes that before he even has a press conference.
Yeah, he utilizes it, in a fashion that's always to defend himself or to promote himself. And our editorial, we talked that he needs to stop doing that, because especially when it surrounds the Russia investigation, Robert Mueller's investigation into what happened in the 2016 election, as the Russians apparently tried to influence the election. And it turns out also that one of his key advisors and employees, Michael Cohen, is pleading guilty today around 11 o'clock to a number of violations where he was hiding and lying to Congress about information about other things, especially about handling hush money for a number of women who had accused the president, Donald Trump at the time, of having had affairs with them, and in the effort to try to keep them quiet during the election so they wouldn't come up and possibly affect the outcome. So Cohen's pleading guilty to that. And in response, Trump started tweeting about Cohen and about Mueller, and all these things seem to add up to, like, he's trying to, in a sense, some people believe he's trying to obstruct justice, taking the emphasis off of the investigation, off of himself. And so, the Post advised him to stop doing that. Just let things play out.
Yeah.
He has other things to do. He has to deal with, national issues, our nation, dealing with China, dealing with other things that are happening nationally, rather than being preoccupied with the Mueller investigation. Let that play out and see what happens. Because from the editorial board's perspective, there's not much Mueller has that would really affect President Trump during his administration.
So from your perspective, we won't see anything until after the next election, possibly, when it comes to Mueller?
Well, Mueller's going to have to produce his report sometime this year, and it looks like he's getting closer to doing that, as a number of figures have been investigated and spoken to, have perjured themselves, have been providing information to the investigation, and we'll see where it goes. The key question is whatever is uncovered about the president's knowledge or participation in things, whether or not they are impeachable offenses. Well, we know that legally he cannot be tried in court while president. There are things that can happen, after he's out of office. And some, like the campaign finance violations of paying hush money and being aware of it, and that not being reported as a campaign contribution, could result in something. But we pointed out in our editorial that the same thing was that a Democratic candidate was once accused of that, and it turned out that that person was acquitted. That it wasn't, I believe, it's Senator John Edwards. One of his donors had paid off his baby mama while he was running for the office of president for the nomination, and the feds argued that he was illegal contribution. But he argued it wasn't an illegal contribution. He was just trying to prevent his wife from knowing what transpired. He wasn't trying to fool voters or prevent them from knowing. It was more about his wife not being aware.
Right.
And so that case failed. And in our view, any case against Trump would probably fail for similar reasons.
Well, Mike, that's why we bring you in to talk about these things. When we get back, hopefully next time, we'll talk a little bit more about Mark Meadows, the new chief of staff to President Trump, and a little controversy surrounding him. We don't have time to get into that now, but we'll have to get back to you to talk a little bit about that. But, Mike, thanks again for joining us.
Daren, thank you.
All right, buddy. All right, listen, taking a quick break. We've got more open. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.
For all the papas out there, let's stop what we're doing and take a moment. A moment to be with our kids. They can be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments, kooky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count because every time dads take a moment to be with their kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's all take a moment to make a moment today.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
And we are back here on Open. Well, we welcome you back. The first-time author pens a memoir dedicated to caregivers all around the world. The story, a haunting new work about the experience of caregiving, the power of grief, and helping women caregivers in dire straits. Joining us now is author Sol Rivera, and she shares with us a little bit, and good to have you. And the title of the book is called View for Death. Congratulations on the book.
Daren.
And I know that you wrote it to be a help, and also not just a help, but some healing for you as well.
Exactly, exactly. Well, the title, View for Death, it's very literal.
Mm-hmm.
The room I was in or spent a lot of time in was close up to the heavens on the 22nd floor of this incredibly large, actually the 7th largest hospital in the world. And I looked out and I saw the clouds and the beautiful sky, and I couldn't help but think that there was like some architectural, poetic order to the view. And so I titled it View for Death.
Wow. And so give us a little bit about the book.
So it's experience of going through my husband's last months of life. He lost his battle to colon cancer. And the experience changed my life in that it made me really aware of what people who are alone, who are perhaps going through these situations, I'm afraid for their life, really. You know, it's a desperate situation when you're alone and you might be taking care of 1 or 2 or 3 people at the same time, not just a sick relative or a husband. It could be a wife, it could be a son, it could be a daughter. And I saw myself with a lot of privilege. You know, I had family, I had food, I had love, I had support. And in order to get out of my pain, I thought of what's worse than this. And so that's when the idea came to be like, you know, I could do something for women who are alone, who perhaps might need just simple stuff, maybe like a phone bill paid or menstrual kits or diapers for their babies. Things that might seem, you know, really silly, but in the day-to-day really do make a difference.
And you really tackle loss and grief from a perspective of letting people know that this is what goes on in the life of a caregiver.
Right.
And for you, obviously, a first time, a really hard experience. What was the most challenging part about being that caregiver?
That's a really good question. The most challenging part is trying to find yourself and keep yourself grounded, you know, which I wasn't. Or I thought you think you are, but you're not in control. And I think it's true of all of us, right? And the book is poignant on purpose, because it is in suffering that we all share a common ground. We all go through, we all cry, we all see people we love die, and that's where we can perhaps see ourselves through other people.
Yeah. And so you got a few chapters in here, and you know, I want to go to this one, The Sunrise After the Longest Night.
Yeah. That was actually a really beautiful morning.
Mm-hmm.
It had been the hardest day of my life, I think. And the next morning, this amazing woman brought me cheese, chocolate, bread, and the gesture, you know, I didn't ask for it. It was a family friend. And it's those little kinds of gestures that really can turn a life around.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly did mine. You know, it was like hope. It was like love. It was like solidarity. And in a sense, that's what I want to bring to other women that are alone and going through dire situations, you know.
Right. What is the greatest takeaway that you want people to get from your book?
That healthcare is a human right.
Mm-hmm.
That we all deserve to be treated with dignity, and that small gestures matter.
Mm-hmm.
They make a difference.
Yeah. And how much I'll get.
You know, saying thank you. It's like
Yeah.
that alone sometimes makes a difference.
It can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
How much in writing this has it helped to heal you?
It helped me face grief, and it helped me sort of, you know, there's a really great quote attributed to Winston Churchill that it says, you know, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, you know, you want to face it, not to, you know, not to dwell on it, but really to understand yourself, to gain strength from it. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel like I got out of it, you know, a bit of resilience, you know, like we have to carry on and sometimes facing that fear, and, you know, the art of writing, you know, luckily the expression hopefully will help other people.
Right. So where do people get the book now?
They get the book on Amazon, digital, or by visiting the website viewfordeath.com.
All right. Well, we want to make sure that people tap into it. Thank you for sharing. It's
Thank
very
you.
important. It's very instrumental. I mean, a lot of people are caregivers, and I know for myself, you know, I mean, my sisters watch it, we watch, we've been there before, and when you're a caregiver, it seems like you're sometimes you're all alone, but
yeah.
The truth is that there are more people out there that have had the experience and have gotten through it. So thank you for helping to share people get
Thank
through
you.
this. All right. So Rivera, listen, taking a quick break. We got more open. Stay with us. We'll come right back right after this.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Well, it is Christmas time. Do you know it is right around the corner, my favorite time of year? And it is time for Coquito, a traditional Christmas drink that originated in Puerto Rico. The coconut-based alcoholic beverage is similar to eggnog. And here with us is Rafael Vargas, owner of, how do you pronounce it?
Zoraida's Coquito.
See, we want to make sure we get the proper. Zoraida's Coquito, we welcome him back. And
I'm co-owner. My wife is the founder and the principal owner.
Okay.
And she's also the 3-time Coquito Master Champion of New York City and the New York League of Puerto Rican Women Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. So, and she has other accolades that we can go on and on about.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about Coquito as we know it. For people who don't know, first of all, a little bit of history of Coquito.
Well, again, it originated in Puerto Rico and it spread throughout the islands. And throughout the islands is known as rum cream, cream of coconut, punch of Cuba. And it's even found its way down to South America and Mexico through other names as pulpo and pisco. But the originality, definitely from Puerto Rico. And my wife is from Puerto Rico. And she brought the tradition here when she came to the United States and, of course, met me 38 years ago. And from then, we've always made it a tradition to have Coquito at the table. But in 2006, someone told me of the Coquito Master Championship tournament, and we pursued it. And since then, we've taken 3 Coquito Master Championships.
And so you got your master champion, not just once, not twice, but 3 times. And so for you, it's not just a holiday time, it's all year round for you guys.
All year round. We've been promoting my wife's Coquito, and we're on the verge of placing it on the shelves. Hopefully 2019 will be the target date.
The breakout year.
Oh, and we're going to break out big in style. We've become renowned throughout the city, Queens, Bronx, Manhattan, and certainly Brooklyn. We don't venture across the Verrazano Bridge. So.
Yeah.
But we hope to do that because there's a lot of people out there that are anxious to see Zoraida's Coquito.
So where are people going to find you these days? Because I know you got some events coming up.
Well, we have a lot of events. We've done the Latin Lawyers Association of Queens County, the Puerto Rican Bar Association recently, the Hispanic Society for the New York City Department of Sanitation, the MTA Association, Benevolent Association. We've been invited to a lot of functions to bring out Coquito, introduce it to their members, to their guests, and we've been a big hit.
And so for people who want to find out more, and how do they get a good sampling and a taste of your Coquito?
Well, they can always go on Zoraida's Coquito Facebook, ZoraidasCoquito.com. And if you go to YouTube and YouTube Zoraida's Coquito, you'll see us on BronxNet repeatedly. And thank you again for inviting us. And you'll see us on Channel 12. And again, we look forward to just becoming part of the public.
So, I'm not going to ask you to give away all the secrets, right? But what makes it so special?
Well, my wife makes this Coquito with a lot of love. But most importantly, we use quality ingredients because our customers are not one-time customers. They are lifetime, and they become part of the Zoraida's Coquito family. So I sometimes have to scold them for seeing them only during Thanksgiving and Christmas, but that's all right.
Yeah. As we said, it's all year round, and you're taking orders all year round.
Well, it's available all year round to those who want to taste it and make it available to them.
So upcoming events, you said now, what's the next one?
Well, our next coming event certainly will be the BronxNet Christmas Party.
Well, we know that, yes.
And we have our DC 37 events coming up. We always do the Black History Month, and we do other union functions. And we'll be at the 1199 Market down on 42nd Street the 21st of December. So anyone can come down there and taste our Coquito and get introduced to Zoraida's Coquito.
So we want you to take a full advantage. We've got Zoraida's Coquito here. Rafael is here with us, and he's sharing a little bit with us, talking about how the difference is it's made with a whole lot of love. So give me, before we get out of here, the competition, right? How much is there nervousness, anxiety when you got these other people out there?
Well, I mean, when we took the first championship, it was versus 46 contenders, and so the chief judge was the chief chef to Gracie Mansion at that time for Mayor Bloomberg. And then we took a back-to-back champion at the Bronx Museum. And then 2 years later, we came back and made a statement and took the third championship. I have to give a lot of credit and give a shout out to Debbie Quinones. She is the founder and the president to Coquito Masters. She started the competition, more than 15 years ago. And since then, Coquito has become very part of society. And so again, shout out to Debbie Quinones of CoquitoMasters.com.
And a big shout out to you.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
And a shout out to my wife, Zoraida.
That's it.
We love you.
We love you. Listen, and so we're going to have them here with us at our Christmas party so we can get the full sampling and we can let everybody know just how good it is. As we said already, 3-time Masters champion. Check out Zoraida's Coquito. They're all around New York City. And as we said, hopefully coming to a shelf near you in 2019. Rafael, good to have you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on the great work.
Thank you.
Best wishes to the wife at home. All right, listen, taking a quick break. We've got more open. Stay with us. Coming right back in a few.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
I guess sometimes things just happen. Devastating things. Your whole world changes in an instant. That's what happened to me the day my mother had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
And we are back here on Open. And right now we want to welcome an award-winning pop singer-songwriter, Jann Klose. And if you've never heard, he's was raised in Kenya, South Africa, and Germany, and he actually lives in the Bronx and doing some great things. He's Grammys, awards, you name it, he's got it. But he's here with us, and he's just released his new album. He's got his new album out. He's got some performances coming up. But we want to welcome here to BronxNet. Jann, good to have you.
Pleasure to be here.
Talk to us a little bit about, first of all, being this Bronx artist and taking your music all across the world.
Yeah, so when I moved to New York, I lived in the Bronx, and I still do.
Mm-hmm.
And I tour internationally, tour in Europe and Africa and the U.S., Canada. So, and I have this new album out called In Tandem, and it's an international pop collaboration with artists from 3 continents, including my friends here in the U.S. and some European friends and lots of South African artists. And yeah, so that's basically it. So, finally home from the road.
Right.
So I thought I'd pop in and see you guys.
Well, we're glad to have you. What's it been like on the road and, your performances? What's the energy been like for you?
The shows were great. It's the road, so you don't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So when I come home, I usually, I'm like 8-9 hours a night of catching up for my sleep. But other than that, it's been great. So
talk to us about the new album and what can we expect to hear on the new album?
Well, I'll play a couple of the songs. It's a full band album. There are I think over 20 musicians on the record. It's a pop album, but you'll hear the songs done in an acoustic setting, just how I wrote them. So you'll hear the raw version of it when I play them live. But yeah, the record was a real pleasure. I met a lot of South African artists while I was at a BMI writers camp in Cape Town a couple of years ago. So, and then I was invited to make the album at the Academy of Sound Engineering in Johannesburg. So, and then since I spent some time there as a boy in South Africa, it was a really great homecoming in a way. And to make an album there was exhilarating. The talent, the musicians, and the vibe was just incredible. Yeah. So it was a very powerful experience. And a record I'm really proud of.
Well, you're sharing your experience here in the borough of the Bronx, and you got some things happening coming up soon, right?
I do. I have one more show this year at. It's actually in Jersey. It's actually sold out. It's this Saturday, but. I'm going to, set up some. We played the Cutting Room in the city a couple of times this summer, and so probably sometime in the spring I'll set up a show for the city or maybe in the Bronx. I don't know. We'll see. Something good.
So we put you on the spot. The Bronx, South Africa. Talk to me about playing in those two different places. What's it like in terms of the city? I would say the Bronx, New York City, and South Africa. Talk to us about that.
Well, Johannesburg is a very cosmopolitan, very mixed city. It's very international, and Cape Town is a little smaller, but incredibly beautiful, incredibly exciting geographically. South Africa is changing a lot. It's gone through tons of changes in the last couple of decades. And in a way, so has the Bronx.
Right.
The Bronx is changing really fast all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 years, has like, it feels
you come
like...
back home and you're like, wow.
It is really starting to change very fast. It feels that way anyway, because I have this... Because I leave town a lot for touring, when I come back, I always kind of feel like, oh yeah, this place, and a lot of it stays the same, but a lot of it is changing and evolving very quickly, it seems, right now.
Well, I want to let you get into your music,
Sure.
share with us a little bit. Jann Klose is here with us. Can share a little bit from his new album, and I'll be back to join you right after.
All right, cool.
All righty.
This is called Love High.
I guess I got a little excited, maybe even just a little bit frightened. You appeared like a bolt of lightning, heavy rain, thunder riding high. Haunted, wanted, I was wanting, haunted by you, longing, calling. In the middle of the night I feel it coming on. When you're giving me a love, you're giving me a love high. It's a love that you're giving on. Giving me a love high. I wanna see inside you. Want you to trust me, let me guide you. It's a place we can go together. In the distance I can see forever. But the tide is high into the landing. We're underwater. Hold on, I can't hold on. In the middle of the night, I feel it coming on. When you're giving me your love, you're giving me your love high. Cause it's a love that you're giving up. Giving me your love high. Taking you on, however long. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a love that you're giving up. You're giving me a love high. It's a love that you're giving up. You're giving me a love high. Yes, you are. You're giving up. You're giving up. Giving up. Giving up. Giving up. Giving up. It's a love that you're giving up. You're giving me a love high. It's a love that you're giving up. Giving me a love high.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Jann Klose and sharing about Love High. And as we said, you got a show coming up in Jersey City that's sold out. But of course, we want to thank you for the work that you've done because I know you donated your time and gave a benefit concert at Mind Builders. And thank you for that. And where can people catch you?
Well, I mean, look me up online. Unfortunately, the year is out for shows, you know,
Right.
so I'll be starting back up again in January with some shows out west in LA and Southern California, and then I'll be doing something in the city. So best for people to just check out, go to my website and find me on social medias and.
It won't
There
be
you go.
hard.
I'm pretty easy to find.
Right, his
Yeah.
music's been streamed more than 1 million times, so it's not hard to find him. Thank you so much for
man.
coming and sharing
Pleasure.
with us. Got to come
Thanks
back,
for having me.
okay?
Of course.
Great. Jann Klose, our guest in studio. Listen, we came to the end of our show today. Want to thank all of our guests for joining us. And most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Fios Channel 33, and watch anytime on the web at Bronxnet.org. The remainder of our time, I'm giving it to Jann to close us out and take us home.
Mysterious illusion is all that I can see. Beautiful reflection staring back at me. There's a single question, oh, all there is to know, There's a perfect moment, yeah. All there is to show. Take me to forever, time will never end. Take me to the sky, oh, gonna live forever. Heaven will transcend everlasting life, oh, 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 oh. Let me paint your picture with the love we found. I can feel your colors, I can see your sound. I can feel your passion. Oh, I can touch your soul. You can see right through me. You can make me whole. Take me to forever. Time will never end. Take me to the sky. Oh, gonna live forever. Heaven will transcend everlasting life. Oh, 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 oh. Take me to forever. Time will never end. Take me to Take me to forever, time will never end. Take me to the sky. Now we're gonna live forever, heaven will transcend everlasting life. Oh, 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 oh.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.